up, Toonami faithful? Time for another night. If you're new to the show, welcome. If you've been down from the beginning, all I can say is thanks. Time to push the button.
Hey Tom, are you watching Attack on Titan again?
Not exactly. This is even better. I'm playing Attack on Titan.
It looks just like the show.
Well, it pretty much is the show. Face the nightmare as Eren, Armin, Mikasa, Levi, and more as you play through the first season.
Oh, it's Mikasa all the way for me.
She's a badass, all right. But I'm all about Lieutenant Levi.
Jeez, those creepy Titans are everywhere.
Yep, and they just keep coming. Good thing there's plenty of upgrades.
It seems kind of crazy control-wise.
They're a little tricky at first, but once you get the hang of it, the real slaughter begins.
Looks bloody fun.
Tons. And even after the story's done, there's still plenty of extras and side missions to play.
Any low points?
It's not perfect. The camera goes crazy sometimes, and it can get a little repetitive after a while. But if you're a fan of the series, you'll be hooked. We give Attack on Titan a 7.5 out of 10.
The bigger they are,
with all the new first-person shooters coming out right now, you may have missed this little gem called Jotun. You play as a Viking warrior named Thora who dies at sea, but is given a second chance to impress the gods. Armed with little more than an axe in your nerves, you set off on a journey through the world of Norse mythology to do battle with the elemental giants called the Jotun. There are 5 realms to explore, and you'll need to collect magic runes in each to advance. Be sure to search for golden apples to extend your health, and god statues to hook up Thora's divine powers. Making your way through the void is pretty easy, until you get to the best part of the game, the epic boss battles. Then it's a desperate fight to the death that'll really test your patience and your eyesight. The only downside? It's a pretty quick tale. Even if you solve all the puzzles and grab all the extras, it's only around 6 hours. We give Jotun a short but sweet 8 out of 10. Bravery never dies. I've been waiting for this one ever since I defeated Shadow of the Colossus. Now, after 10 long years, the last Guardian is finally here. You play as a young boy who suddenly finds himself lost in a beautifully strange and dangerous world. Luckily, you've got an ally in the form of a giant monster. This half-bird, half-cat mythical creature's name is Trico. He's pretty cool. Just like any pet, you'll have to feed him when he's hungry and pet him when he's scared. Trico will help solve puzzles. You can climb on him to reach new areas, and he's pretty good in a fight. As our bond grew and he saved my hide time and time again, I found myself loving him more and more. The only downside is that he's kind of unpredictable. It's tough to get him into the right spots sometimes, and the camera can make it even harder. But these are only minor flaws in what is another Ueda masterpiece. We give The Last Guardian an 8 out of 10. A boy and his beast. I've been watching so much Dragon Ball Super lately that I've been itching for a fight, so I fired up Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. I was ready for more of the same great beatdown action as the original, but this time around, there's more Dragon Ball fun than ever. Way more. I've always wanted a multiplayer DBZ-flavored RPG, and Xenoverse 2 delivers in spades. Just like before, you play as a new member of the Time Patrol, and it's up to you to train, fight, and power up like your favorite heroes. It's still all about chain combos, ultimate attacks, and legendary showdowns. But it isn't just another quick run through the show's storylines. With so many on and offline quests, there's tons to do, and I'm still battling my way through all the missions. It's not perfect yet, but it's pretty fun, and getting closer to the Dragon Ball game fans have been waiting for. We give Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 an 8.5 out of 10. Kamehameha Hurrah! Just when I thought it was safe to write off survival games for good, Resident Evil is back. Deep in the bayou, Ethan gets a cryptic message from his missing wife.
Ethan, please help!
And the first-person nightmare begins. Creep your way through the old Dulvey plantation, searching for clues, gathering resources, and solving puzzles, all while being hunted and haunted by the cannibalistic Baker family. Just like the original, it's more about searching and surviving rather than running and gunning. You can still have fun killing monsters and murderers, but keep an eye on your limited resources. Then, after surviving the ordeal, you can relive it all again in VR mode. Pretty sweet. On the downside, it was kind of short, and the puzzles were pretty easy. But even 21 years after the terror of Raccoon City, this return to form can still scare the crap out of you. We give Resident Evil Biohazard for the PS4 a 7.5 out of 10. Evil never dies.
Tom, what you doing?
I don't know what you're saying, but don't talk to me.
Okay.
What a crockish!
Tom, are you okay?
Yes, I'm just playing Neo. It's super annoying and hard.
That sounds terrible.
No, it's great. You play as a Scottish or Irish or something dude who's traveling around early Edo Japan to get your girlfriend or spirit animal or something back.
Have you been paying attention to the story at all?
Actually, yes. Well, now I am. In the beginning, I was too mad at the game, and I was pretty sure I was going to quit anyway. Plus, it's mostly in Japanese with subtitles, so I've missed a few things.
Clearly.
It's from the folks who made Ninja Gaiden, and it's sort of like they had a baby with Dark Souls.
Didn't you rage quit Dark Souls?
But I'm really enjoying this game. Oh, what the hell is that?
This does not seem like enjoyment.
No, it really is. I don't think I've ever played a game that made me so genuinely happy to kill a boss. You actually feel like you've conquered something.
I think you might need a break.
Yes! Eat it, you cheap bastard! Seriously, it really is fun. Not perfect, and it gets repetitive by the end, but still super fun. I'd say an 8.5 out of 10.
Tom, take a break just for a minute.
Okay, I just want to finish this one side quest first. What? 2 of those crow things at once? That is some bullshit. Hey Sarah, aren't you done with Breath of the Wild?
You can't be done with Breath of the Wild. It's too big.
Well, I finished the story, got all the shrines, finished most of the side quests. I feel like I'm done.
Well, you're not. Tom and I are talking about the new Zelda game, Breath of the Wild.
It takes Link off in some new directions, literally.
You can go anywhere and climb anything as long as you have enough stamina.
And as long as it isn't raining. The rain is so annoying in this game.
but it makes it feel like a world, which is what's so great about this game. It's so fun just walking around with Link and exploring.
You can find shrines and hidden quests.
But the downside is oftentimes you don't know where you're supposed to go.
Most of the time, it just highlights the quest giver, which just leaves you for a loss.
But for the most part, the game is great.
Except for the inventory management really blows.
Now you're just trying to find faults.
No, I'm not. It's super clunky.
But you had fun, right?
Oh yeah, it's super great. I just don't think it's the best game ever.
Do you think it's the best Zelda game ever?
I guess I'll tell you when I'm done.
Breath of the Wild for the Nintendo Switch and Wii U
Come on, for the Switch.
gets a 9 out of 10.
Now we just need the DLC to drop.
You haven't picked up all the Korok seeds.
Yeah, because there's 900 of them.
You want to play my game for a bit?
Yes, please. Or maybe I'll just start my game over. So many great games out lately, you may have slept on Injustice 2. This time around, Brainiac has Earth in his sights.
I collect worlds.
Batman and Superman are still at odds. And everyone in the DC universe is feeling the pain. There's some killer matchups right off the bat. But this isn't just another cool-looking fighter.
Yield if you wish to live.
Now you can level up, collect gear, and upgrade weapons for every character. Then take the fight to your enemies using the most savage versions of each. Okay, who's next? Then, when story mode's done and dusted, there's still plenty more ass to kick. With tons of extra missions in the new multiverse mode, plus multiplayer beatdowns, the battle for supremacy goes surprisingly deep. Even if fighting games aren't your thing, you still might want to check this one out. We give Injustice 2 an 8 out of 10. Come and get it. I love a good survival horror game, and when I found out Prey took place in a space station to boot, I knew I was going to be down. You play as Morgan Yu, a scientist who's preparing to work on Talos 1, a space station your brother runs.
I know the test might seem a little unconventional, but it's a Yu family tradition.
Pretty early on, you'll learn that not everything is what it seems. Talos has been taken over by an alien race called the Typhon, and it's your job to figure out what's going on.
Hello, Morgan. Tough day, right?
Pick up clues along the way, and get neuromods to upgrade yourself in all kinds of ways. You can also 3D print pretty much anything you can find the plans for. Pick up enough old banana peels and dead Typhon guts, and you'll be making shotgun shells and more upgrades in no time. If you're not careful, you will die a lot. Save often. It's tough to talk about the plot without ruining it, but you have a lot of choice on how people see Morgan.
Morgan, I owe you one.
It's all up to you.
Hey, over here! Open this door! Please!
Prey definitely has some flaws. Loading screens into basically more loading screens start to wear pretty thin. But if you like exploring a sometimes empty, sometimes incredibly full space station and piecing together a mystery, Prey might just be for you. We give it an 8 out of 10. It's all about who you trust.
We need to get the arming keys and destroy Talos 1.
And who you don't. Life can be hectic. Sometimes you just want a game that takes you away, and that's where Rhyme comes in. You wake up on a seemingly deserted island. With no clue how you got there or what's happening, you set off towards an uncertain future. Early on, you'll befriend a magic fox, and he'll help guide you in your quest. Wander at will, platforming and puzzle solving your way towards the next clue. With no score, no health, and no tutorials. This is my kind of party. The strange and amazing world holds many secrets. It's kind of like Journey with shades of Eco mixed in. Sadly, the puzzles are a little too easy, and the adventure is all too short. Even if you grab all the toys, melodies, and keyholes, it's only about 9 hours. This one isn't quite groundbreaking, But if you're looking for a quick and fun diversion, Rhyme is for you. We give it a 7.5 out of 10. Aw, who's a good boy? Back in the day, Robotron and Smash TV were arcade hits. Now that spirit lives on with Nex Machina for the PS4. In a distant future, evil robots have taken over the world. Your mission? Find human survivors while staying alive long enough to destroy the machines. Run, gun, and level up on the fly. Grab some handy power-ups, but watch out, you'll lose them when you die, which can leave you in some tough situations. Even with nerves of steel and mad twitch skills, the ruthless machines will take you down time and again. Oh man! But each death is a lesson learned, and knowing what not to do next time is a step closer to taking out those pain-in-the-ass bosses. Gotcha, punk. Nex Machina is fast, furious, and oftentimes infuriating, but it'll keep you coming back for more. We give the new twin-stick shooter on the block an 8.5 out of 10. Who wants some? Summer's here, and the doldrums of gaming have arrived. Luckily, I found this cool survival game called The Flame in the Flood. A strange radio signal beckons you to leave your small island and shove off towards uncertainty. Piloting the waters of the flood is a wild and dangerous ride. Survival depends on keeping your raft in one piece, gathering supplies, and crafting life-saving items. Each decision can mean life or death, and I've died some pretty horrific deaths braving Old Man River. Starvation, drowning, wolf attack, hypothermia, the list goes on and on. But at least there's some handy checkpoints along the way to help keep the story afloat. On the downside, the menu and item juggling are a constant and annoying pain. But each trek downstream is a new adventure, and it's fun seeing how far you can go before your flame winks out. We give The Flame in the Flood a 7.5 out of 10. Rolling on the river. What? You saw me from over there? What a crock.
I saw you from where exactly, Tom?
No, sorry, not you. This dude who was evidently the greatest eyes in the world. I'm playing Shadow Tactics Blades of the Shogun, an Edo period real-time strategy game.
Oh, I remember this. It was a PC game last year, right?
Yeah, and it's just come out for consoles.
How did that port over go?
The camera's a little wonky and so are the controls, but the game is super fun.
So is it all in Japanese?
Doesn't have to be, but I thought it helped it feel more real.
日本は新しい将軍のもとに統治された。
I like it. Do you always have this same team?
No, the story drives who you have on each mission, and everybody has different skills. Hayato is the all-around ninja, Mugen is the big samurai, Yuki is a budding ninja who can lure people into traps, Aiko is a master of disguise, and Takuma is an old man sniper with a pet tanuki you can distract people with.
Aw, Pet Tanuki.
You can even set them up to all do an action at the same time, so you can get past multiple people.
So you're supposed to get in and out without being seen?
Yep, so I make sure to kill everyone and hide their bodies without them knowing I'm there.
Tom, sometimes I really worry about you.
Thanks. Shadow Tactics Blades of the Shogun gets an 8.5 out of 10.
What did that guy ever do to you?
He picked the wrong day to come to work. Just when I thought the Uncharted series was done and dusted, along comes The Lost Legacy. This time around, two badass women have taken up Drake's mantle and set off to find a sacred tusk. While searching the remote mountains of India, you'll find yourself in some familiar scenarios, taking down bad guys, solving puzzles, and even a bit of lockpicking. You'll also come to find that Chloe and Nadine have a pretty complex relationship. They're not quite besties, but together they sure can hold their own. On the downside, there's not much new going on here besides a good story. But I'm always down for a treasure hunt, and the way these ladies handle one is pretty pain. Uncharted: The Lost Legacy has it all. Epic scenery, gripping action sequences, and 2 times the femmes fatale. If you loved Uncharted 4, this one's for you. We give it an 8 out of 10. Ladies first. Good news, Gundam fans. After years of play in Japanese arcades, Bandai has finally released Gundam Versus in the States. Choose from over 90 mobile suits spanning 35 years of Gundam glory and let the battles begin. It takes some time learning the ropes, but it's pretty easy to drop right in. You'll need to master each suit's weapons and special moves if you really want to be an ace. Be sure to watch your boost level. Once it drains out, you're a sitting duck. When the going gets tough, call in your support striker. On the downside, other than unlockables and upgrades, the single-player campaign feels pretty hollow. But this one was made for multiplayer, and that's just fine with me, because it's the online battles that really test your mettle. Gundam fans, your mobile suit has finally come in. We give Gundam Versus for the PS4 a 7.5 out of 10. Gundam is life. Just when I was thirsting for a serious challenge, along comes Cuphead. It may look like a harmless kiddie game on the outside, but inside lurks a beast. Cuphead and Mugman have gotten into hot water with the devil himself. Now they have to collect soul contracts or pay with their own. With no way to regain health, no checkpoints, and no mercy, this game will make you furious. There are some handy power-ups, but finding the right mix is pretty tricky. Try again. After a while, it becomes an obsession. Just a bit further. Yes! Take that, you punk! This kind of grind isn't for the faint of heart. But when it comes to annoyingly satisfying fun, these cups runneth over. We give Cuphead for the Xbox One a 9 out of 10. Runnin' with the devil. I felt like cooking up a little holiday fun, so I checked out Battle Chef Brigade from Adult Swim Games. Being a battle chef is all about the preparation. First, you'll have to kick some ass to stock up on ingredients. Then you'll have to kick even more ass whipping up culinary delights.
Positively superb.
Competitions are pretty hectic. Picking the right battle gear, power-ups, and cookware while collecting and juggling ingredients is harder than it looks. With the clock ticking, the pressure's on, so not having enough or using the wrong items can be disastrous.
Offensive.
But it's all worthwhile when your delicious dishes finally satisfy those picky judges.
Minaha! Win!
Ah, sweet, sweet victory. The game is short, but tasty. Its unique combination of fighting, cooking, and puzzle solving will have you lining up for seconds. We give Battle Chef Brigade for the Switch an 8.5 out of 10. Who's hungry? Well, it's sequel season again, and you know what that means. BJ Blazkowicz is back for more in the new Colossus. The next chapter in this alternate reality storyline is brutally insane. Billy Boy's pretty busted up. He's already been through hell, and now the whole world has been overrun by Nazi scum. Guess I'm just gonna have to delight in cleaning up this mess one more time. Gameplay-wise, it's pretty much more of the same, but when it's this good, more of the same is just fine by me. Terror Billy is on the loose again, and there's plenty of hell to pay. It's a little easier if you sneak before you shoot, but screw that. The Third Reich is going down. No quarter and no mercy. Great single-player games may be falling off the radar, but you can always count on the Wolfenstein series to bring the pain. We give the new Colossus a 9 out of 10. Hungry like the wolf. Supposed to be updating the Clyde's user software?
Oh, sorry. I was just in the middle of shaking my fruit trees.
Wait, is this Animal Crossing?
Yep, the mobile version. Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. I can't stop playing it.
Cool. So what's new?
Unlike typical Animal Crossing, you're a brand new camp manager. Instead of a house, you've got a killer campsite. And the villagers, aka campers, all want to crash at your place.
So they just freeload?
Yep, and they're constantly asking for special requests.
That one looks pretty special.
Oh yeah, the game involves a whole lot of grinding. All in all, it can get a bit repetitive.
Whoa, some familiar faces in there. And the Mario alligator?
Yeah, Alfonso. And his catchphrase is, you guessed it, it's a me.
What?
It is Nintendo after all.
I dig that rock stage. Are they any good?
They're up and coming. You also have real-world friends you can visit, so you can get inspired by their camp design, like my personal favorite, Lamp Cult.
All right, Sarah. Animal Crossing Pocket Camp gets
7.5 out of 10 bells.
The addiction is real.
Don't judge.
It's a new year, and the future is full of injustice. Luckily, the judge is here to set things straight. Criminals of Edinburgh beware. There's a new sheriff in town, and he's bringing his own brand of ruthless justice. In his world, the gavel is God, and everyone's guilty until proven dead. It's kind of like RoboCop meets Judge Dredd. Complete mission objectives to unlock new levels, collect credits to buy upgrades, and customize your judge unit into one badass bot. Then take it to the streets and bring the pain. On the downside, the levels are pretty short, and you'll have to play them again and again if you want to unlock everything. But even after order has been restored, there's still plenty of extra missions to keep your killing streak alive. Much like Hotline Miami, this twin-stick shooter is fun as hell. We give Judge a 7.5 out of 10. Justice never sleeps.
Tom, that's not fair.
That's the power of Goku Black, Sarah.
This new Dragon Ball FighterZ game feels pretty familiar.
Well, it was produced by the same studio that made Guilty Gear, and now they've made this amazing-looking Dragon Ball game.
It really feels like we're playing the show.
We pretty much are, and it's the best Dragon Ball fighting game ever.
The story mode is pretty fun.
But it's the arcade mode's 3 versus 3 battles where this one really shines. It may seem a little chaotic at first, but the controls are actually pretty simple.
Switching players on the fly is definitely the key to victory.
Well played, Sarah. When you've been going toe-to-toe as long as we have, Dragon Ball FighterZ is a welcome breath of fresh air. We give it an 8.5 out of 10. Okay, Sarah, time for that rubber match.
It's your funeral.
But just keep going.
You can make it. I think everyone is fighting someone else.
Okay, but even one shot and I'm down. Don't come back for me. We're too close to the end.
Keep running. No one's inside the shack.
Sarah and I are deep in a round of Player Unknown's Battlegrounds.
Which, when it isn't an unplayable mess, is stressful, but quite fun.
All I got are bandages. Do you have any painkillers?
No, sorry. I think we are still going to be inside the circle, though.
You start a match by jumping out of a plane with a bunch of other people with just the clothes on your back.
You start a match by mindlessly punching each other in a holding area.
Oh yeah, right. That's Sarah's favorite part. Okay, I'm healing myself. Keep an eye out.
Yes, I don't see anyone. As soon as you land, you have to forage for weapons and new outfits. Wait, I see one guy, but he's a long way off.
Then you slowly make your way into smaller and smaller areas, or you die outside the blue magic wall of death.
Sometimes you have to fight people right away, and sometimes you don't fight anyone until the end.
This round's been a bit of both, but I think we're in a good spot.
Now you've done it. Do you see that guy running?
Yeah, should I pop up and shoot him?
Yeah, I don't have a good scope.
He's hiding in the smoke. What? Wait. We won!
What? Yes!
Since it isn't really a game yet, can we give it a rating?
How about PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds for Xbox One gets an exciting and entertaining, but sometimes annoying, incomplete.
Fire it back up, jump right away, and look for a boat.
The boat isn't always the answer.
We have never died in the boat.
Most of the game is on land.
I think I see a boat. We're good.
ニーアオートマタがリリースされたのはかなり前ですが、ようやくレビューを発表できます。それだけこのゲームは奥が深い。僕たちの何が分かるって言うんだ。このゲームは未来で人間のために機械と戦うアンドロイドという設定です。
私たちアンドロイドは主たる人類を守るように作られている。
人間とは何か、魂を持っているのは誰か、何のために戦うのかという内容だ。
それにふさわしい理由が必要だろう。
なかなか興味深いね。大世界で展開されるたくさんの冒険、エンディングも豊富でなんと26もある。大きな戦いで選択の失敗により敗北する場合もあれば、別のキャラクターの視点でプレイすることもできる。さらに究極のエンディングと思われるいいエンディングもある。内容は明かせないが、複雑な状況で重要な選択を強いられることになる。完全とは言えない。特に経路検索に関しては苛立つ。だがストーリーはいいからかなり楽しめる。
我々は諦めはしない。海を、空を、大地を。
この PS4 ニアオートマタの評価は10点満点中9点。無能な者が最後に逃げ込む場所が暴力だ。
Nier Automata came out a while ago, but we're just getting around to doing the review because there's just that much to do in this game.
You don't know anything at all about us!
You play as an android who's fighting against machines and 4 humans in the distant future.
Androids were designed to protect their human masters.
Story-wise, it's all about what makes you human, who has a soul, and what's worth fighting for.
We all need something to fight for, don't we?
So, I was curious to say the least. It's a huge open-world game with lots of side quests, and lots of endings. 26 endings in all. Some of the endings are just making a bad choice in a big battle, while others are playing the story from a completely different character's point of view. There's an ending for E that seems like it's really the ultimate ending. Without giving too much away, you have to make a pretty big choice with far-ranging implications. It's not a perfect game. The pathfinding in particular is pretty annoying, but it's super fun, and the story is really well written.
We will never give up our struggle. We will take back the seas, the skies, the land.
Toonami gives Nier Automata for the PS4 a 9 out of 10. Violence is the last refuge of the incompetent. I'm not sure why, but even in space, I always hear the call of the sea. So when I saw the aquatic adventure of The Last Human, I dove right in. As the last human survivor, you return to Earth to find it's a watery grave. This submerged dystopian world is a sight to behold. Explore the depths in search of answers. Upgrade your sub's firepower while unlocking new areas. scenery, but don't sleep, because here there be monsters. Big ones. The first boss battle's pretty tough, and the next 10 are even tougher. You'll have to brave many tides to beat them all. Difficulty-wise, it's no Cuphead, but it comes pretty damn close. It's a weird title, but for $15, the fun runs deep. We give the aquatic adventure of the last human an 8 out of 10. Well, at least the whales are still here. Series has always been a little crazy, so when I fired up the latest version, I was ready for anything. In the wilderness of Hope County, Montana, the Eden's Gate cult is out of control. As a one-man army, it's up to you to free the people. Build the resistance by rescuing civilians, liberating outposts, and completing various missions. Like other Far Cry games, it's mostly about sneaking around, killing bad guys, and blowing stuff up. But this time around, you can also hire a few handy allies. Sick of cheeseburger. Eventually, you'll cause enough destruction to force a showdown with the cult's leaders, and then take them out. On the downside, the story is kind of all over the place. But in between being kidnapped every 5 minutes, the endless cutscenes, and many bliss-induced freakouts, there's still plenty of fun to be had. We give Far Cry 5 an 8 out of 10. Cult of Personality. Hey Sarah, I thought there wasn't any DLC for God of War.
There isn't. I started over on the Give Me God of War difficulty.
Oh, is it fun?
More like I'm not ready to say goodbye to it all yet.
Okay, well, what did you like about God of War?
Everything. It's really fun. The writing is good, the voice acting is really good.
That is where the true strength of a warrior lies.
The story is interesting, and once you have a few upgrades, the fighting is really fun. And there's lots of unusual puzzles to solve.
But you're not having fun right now?
I think you're missing the point of this difficulty.
Let's try again. What's the game about?
You're still playing as Kratos, but this time it's all different. Your wife has died.
Didn't that happen a while ago?
Different wife. Anyway, you leave with your son Atreus on a mission to honor her last wishes. So the game is really about your father-son journey.
And ripping creatures apart?
Oh yeah, that's one of the perks. The early game is really one long tutorial, and it takes a while for it to really open up. And at first, the boss fights are a little cheap, but once you figure them out, it ends up just being a good challenge.
And it looks like there are crafting and skill trees too.
Yeah, and a few side missions. But it's really more than the sum of its parts. The whole vibe is just really good. I'd say a solid 9 out of 10, maybe even a 9.5.
So you're waiting till you finish the whole game again before really committing?
Well, right now I don't see how I'm gonna beat the Valkyrie Queen again, so I don't know that I can finish again.
Valkyrie Queen?
I'll explain.
Summer doldrums are upon us, but that doesn't mean there aren't any fun games out there. I've been playing Moonlighter, a throwback dungeon crawler inventory humper game. You play as Will, a shopkeeper by day, and wannabe hero by night. Basically, you go through dungeons and sell your plunder to the townsfolk. The monsters are harder at night, but the goodies are better, and that's only one of the many choices you have in Moonlighter. Each dungeon has 3 levels. The deeper you go, the harder it is, but the sweeter the reward. But if you go too far and die, you lose all your spoils. You also have to get the hang of managing the store. Price something too low and no one will buy it. Price something too high and you've lost out on money. You can also improve your gear, the store itself, and even the town as you gather more resources. Moonlighter's not super long, but that's not a bad thing. And while it's not for everyone, the gameplay is pretty fun and addictive, and the art style's really cool. Toonami gives Moonlighter an 8 out of 10. Back to the grind. Never-ending search for fun new Switch games, I just found one of the best. It's called Hollow Knight, and it's my new favorite addiction. You play as a bug warrior on a mission to unlock the secrets to the underground kingdom of Hallownest. There's not much in the way of tutorials, so you just have to dive right in and start wandering around. This creepy crawly world is so huge you can get lost for hours and end up backtracking time and again. But once you find some key upgrades, it really starts to open up. There are tons of enemies and tons of bosses. Some you'll breeze right through, others will drive you nuts. Die again. Hollow Knight is pretty hard, but it's one of those games that keep you coming back for more. I've been playing and slaying for days now, and I still haven't finished it all. It'll certainly test your patience, but for $15, it's one of the greatest games ever ported to the Switch. We give Hollow Knight a 9 out of 10. Dig deep. I'm a real sucker for old school side-scrollers, so when I heard about this new one inspired by the Castlevania series called Dead Cells, I was all over it. As a headless prisoner resurrected from beyond, you set out to do something. For now, it's kill monsters and devour their cells. The deeper you go, the more powerful you become. My first run was going great, until I died and lost it all. Just when I thought I was in for another controller-throwing good time, I realized that some of the upgrades were permanent. Hallelujah. It's all about risk and reward. Do I speedrun through, or meticulously kill all enemies in search of secret areas and even greater power? No two loops are ever the same, and running into a boss without the right power-ups is certain death. Getting to the end with the most hyped goodies is a pretty long grind, but it's so much fun it's worth it. We give Dead Cells an 8.5 out of 10. 4 a.m. Time for one more run. I've always been a big fan of the Marvel Universe, so I couldn't wait to suit up and start kicking ass as the Amazing Spider-Man. Ropes by helping the NYPD take down the Kingpin. And from there, the city is yours. The Big Apple is one big playground. Swing from skyscrapers, zip to the rescue, and lay the beat down on tons of bad guys and bosses. Level up by completing missions and collecting XP. Use it to unlock new spider suits and gadget upgrades. Then take it to the streets and bring the pain. The story only takes about 15 hours. But there's plenty of extras to keep your spidey senses tingling long after it's done. For me, the biggest downside was sometimes having to play as Peter Parker when I'd rather be web-slinging. But being your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man is as fun as it looks. We give it an 8 out of 10. Does whatever a spider can. It's that time of year again. All the heavy hitters are releasing their big titles, and both Sarah and I have been playing one of the biggest, Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
This one takes place in ancient Greece, and you play as a mercenary caught up in the war between Athens and Sparta.
Complete quests to level up and build your skills in any of the 3 disciplines. Each one offers their own cool perks and special attacks. Plus, you can mix and match until you have the perfect balance. Hello, killing machine.
Or you could specialize in just one, but I'd rather take the fight to the sea.
Controlling the waves is a big part of the game, and the huge naval battles are just as fun as they were back in Black Flag.
Odyssey is all about choices and consequences. You can play it any way you like.
Yep. My version of Alexios is a ruthless, insane maniac, and I've paid the price for this choice time and again. Unlike other AC games, the more crimes you commit, the more bounty hunters join in to hunt you down.
Plus, there's cult members to unmask, conquest battles, and tons of other side quests. I think I'm almost finished with the story, but the world is so huge, I'm not really sure.
Tell me about it. I've been galloping, sailing, and killing bad guys by the hundreds, and I'm not even close to completing it all. This is the biggest and best Assassin's Creed game yet.
We give Odyssey a 9 out of 10.
For Sparta! So unless you've been living under a rock, you probably already know Red Dead Redemption 2 has come out. And since I've been waiting for it since the last one dropped, I was pretty excited to saddle it up. But you learn quickly that you need to take things slow. Like real slow. Some people freak out if you bump into them. They get scared if you ride your horse too fast. And if you're shooting up the place, they tend to get pretty freaked out. It's clear that Rockstar wanted to make an Old West simulator, and for better or worse, that's exactly what they did. You need to feed your crew, you need to feed yourself.
Enjoy.
You need to feed your horse, and you need to do your chores. But they've also made an insanely deep world. So settle in, because it takes a lot of time to get everything, or kind of anything done.
Yep.
And that's the question you have to ask yourself. How much time do you want to put into it? And while all millions of things to do aren't always fun, they are all pretty amazing. It's not a perfect game by any means. The crafting is an overly demanding system, and a lot of the challenges are really not fun, and others are just poorly thought out.
Yep, card.
But you only get down to that level of fault finding when you know you're probably talking about a great game. Toonami gives Red Dead Redemption 2 a 9 out of 10.
There.
See ya, Space Cowboy. I've been playing the Smash series for almost 20 years, and just when I thought it couldn't get any better, Nintendo dropped Super Smash Bros. Ultimate for the Switch. It's all about gathering iconic characters from across gaming and then fighting them against each other. This time around, the battles are faster and more furious. You can win or lose in a heartbeat, and sometimes you won't even know what the hell happened. Play it any way you like. Button mash your way to nostalgic fun, or use tactics and power-ups to win big. Besides the OG Smash mode, there's also a new RPG mode called World of Light, where you capture spirits to add fun modifiers to your characters. With 108 stages, over 70 playable characters, and almost 1,300 spirits to catch, the fight goes on and on and on. The only real downside is that the lag time online is still pretty awful. Aside from that, this is the best Super Smash Bros. Game ever. We give Ultimate for the Switch a 9 out of 10. Knuckle up. Hours powering through big holiday releases, I kind of felt like getting back to the basics. So when I saw Sundered for the Xbox, I was ready to throw down. You play as Esh, a badass she-warrior dropped into a hellish nightmare. In a world inspired by H.P. Lovecraft, it's just you and your sword against the Horde. Hack, slash, and platform your way deeper and deeper into its depths. Destroy enemies while collecting shards, and then spend them wisely on handy upgrades. You'll need to defeat many bosses to finish the game. Depending on your upgrades, they're either a piece of cake or a real pain in the ass. The only downer is that it's gone too soon, only about 15 hours. But on the bright side, the new 4-player local co-op mode really keeps the fun alive. I may have slept on it when it came out for the PS4, but I'm glad I caught up with the Eldritch Edition. We give Sundered an 8 out of 10. Death is only the beginning. Quite a while for 4A Games to drop the final chapter of the Metro series, but Exodus was definitely worth the wait. As it turns out, the citizen soldiers of the Metro have been living a lie. There's still life on the surface, and Artyom's hell-bent on finding it. This time around, you play above ground, using an old train to search for survivors. It's a slow grind at first, but once you get the Aurora up to speed, the fun is off the rails. Like in previous Metro games, it's all about scavenging, conserving ammo, and keeping your cool. You win some, you lose some. Your actions can affect the story, but you won't know exactly how till the end of the line. There is a good ending, but after showing about as much mercy as the apocalypse, I got what was coming to me. All in all, my trip on the Murder Express was still pretty satisfying, even without the feel-good ending. We give Metro Exodus an 8 out of 10. Next stop, Hell. Almost 5 years ago, the people's love for the Castlevania series inspired a Kickstarter game.
And now Bloodstained Ritual of the Night is finally here.
You play as Miriam, an orphan cursed with the rare ability to absorb demonic crystals and wield their powers.
Another Shardbinder has opened the gates of hell, and you're the only one who can stop him.
Explore the massive demon-infested castle while slashing your way through Hell's minions and going toe-to-toe with hideous bosses.
The more shards you absorb, the more powerful Miriam becomes.
Craft mighty weapons to upgrade your attacks.
And cook up some delicious treats for extra stat bonuses.
There are tons of secrets, plus a few alternate endings to uncover. And once you beat the final boss, some cool new game modes really keep the blood flowing.
It's not quite Castlevania, but it's a fitting tribute.
We give Bloodstained Ritual of the Night an 8.5 out of 10.
Hell hath no fury.
Summer's a really slow time for game releases, so I always find myself sniffing around online for a bit of fun. And that's where 1980X comes in. It's the story of a bored kid stuck in a nowhere town until the day he comes across the entrance to 1,000 new worlds, the local arcade. The tale is played out between the reimagined but still pixelated lines of 80s coin-op classics. There are 5 in all, and to progress, all you gotta do is beat each one. At first, it's easier said than done, but then, just when you're getting into it, it's suddenly over. To be continued? What the hell? You can beat the whole thing in under an hour, and while it's kind of a bummer having to wait for the rest of the game to release, I still like the way it's set up. Anyone can jam a compilation of old arcade games together, but the way 1980X uses each one to advance the narrative is pretty cool. We give it an incomplete 7.5 out of 10. Insert coin. There's only one thing that could make me drop Smash Brothers long enough to play another Switch game, and that's a new Zelda game called Cadence of Hyrule. You fight to the beat as Link or Zelda while helping Cadence battle the evil Octavo. Every move and every swing of your sword has to be timed to the rhythm. You gotta stay in the groove if you want to stay alive. Search the 4 corners of the realm for Octavo's temple bosses, take them out one by one, and collect their enchanted instruments. Then it's off to Hyrule Castle for the final dance-off. Like all Zelda games, there are also tons of power-ups, secret areas, and familiar faces along the way. I've never been the biggest fan of rhythm games, but this mashup of Crypt of the Necrodancer and Zelda has really won me over. It's not the longest or hardest of Link's adventures, but man, is it fun. We give Cadence of Hyrule an 8.5 out of 10. Turn the beat around. Hey Sarah, check this out.
What on earth?
It's called Untitled Goose Game. Watch this.
Tom, is that really necessary?
Yep, it's what you're supposed to do. See? It's right here on my list of hilariously mean capers to complete.
The object of the game is to be a jerk?
Kinda. It's more like be the worst goose ever.
So you just run around being a nuisance?
Exactly. But being a real goose's ass isn't as easy as it looks. It takes quick feet and an even quicker build to cross off all the tasks.
Honking around and harassing the villagers does look pretty fun.
And it's weirdly satisfying. The only problem is there aren't enough people to torture. $15 only gets you 5 levels of foul play.
I see what you did there.
We give Untitled Goose Game for the Switch an 8 out of 10.
The goose is loose. Tom, how are you still playing Overland? It's needlessly punishing.
I've actually got a pretty good system going. I use my online save when you're in between stops. That's my fallback Alamo save. Then, once it actually procedurally generates the next level, I'll copy that new save to my USB drive, so that I have 2 full de facto save scum points. One, if everything is lost, and the other, if I just make a little mistake.
Before I came in here, I thought that this game was broken, but now I see that it's you that's actually broken.
It's really no different than reloading XCOM saves, which you did a lot, if memory serves. I've just tweaked their UX a little.
Do you hear yourself?
Sarah and I have been playing Overland, a really cool-looking survival, turn-based strategy game, out for all platforms.
I actually stopped playing when I realized it's impossible.
It's not impossible. Although I did get lucky this time, though, with my amazing crew. Honestly, you just need to be able to make a few mistakes and be able to learn from them.
Which they don't let you do. You're driving across the country and your car can only get hit twice before it blows up and strands you and your team to die. Your weapons break over time, and all that's when other people aren't trying to steal all of your stuff. It's a brutal existence, both in-game and out, and they don't even let you reload your save.
Technically, they do. There's a save file, you just need to know how to grab it, and make a few backdoors. But seriously, this game is super fun. I'm loving it.
So you're saying you fixed their game by completely breaking it?
I'm saying I'm having a ton of fun, and I haven't even finished it yet.
Perhaps you haven't finished because it's super hard, kind of broken, and you're spending all of your time saving, reloading, and partitioning drives.
I did try that, but it was too hard in the heat of the moment to remember which save was on which drive. But for now, Toonami gives Overland a 9 out of 10.
A 9? No way.
I'm telling you, once you know how to avoid the guys who blow up, you can really start to...
There are guys who blow up?
Oh, yeah. Just throw a bottle at them. However, make sure you move your car first. Learned that one the hard way. Well, it's a new year, and I'm all about trying new things. So I decided to check out this really cool game called Grease. It's about a sad young girl who's lost her voice and herself in a mesmerizing watercolor dream world. There's no setup, no dialogue, and no boss battles, just pure platforming and exploration. As you wander around collecting stars and solving puzzles, you'll gain more abilities, which allows Grease to move on. In her voyage through sorrow, the game really leaves it up to you to find the meaning in her actions. Each level is a feedback loop bringing you back to the start, but every time through, the world becomes a little more colorful and alive. It's an insanely beautiful and emotional game with an amazing soundtrack. Too bad it only lasts about 4 hours. If you're a fan of games like Journey, don't sleep on this one. We give Grease an 8 out of 10. Face your fears. Everybody knows that we're huge Star Wars nerds, so it only makes sense that we'd be down with Jedi Fallen Order.
You play as a young Force user named Cal Kestis in a story that takes place after Revenge of the Sith and before A New Hope.
It's a dark time for the Jedi. Order 66 has taken its toll as you set off with BD-1 and your crew on a mission to restore the Jedi Order.
Your only weapon is your lightsaber, which is fine by us, because every Jedi knows that blasters are uncivilized.
Yep. It's all about exploration, epic battles, and using the Force. It takes some serious grinding to upgrade your abilities enough to defeat the second sister.
All in all, this is a great Star Wars game that's true to its source, and has a surprising amount of cool stuff to do.
It's no Knights of the Old Republic. Nothing is. But it's fun as hell.
We give Jedi Fallen Order an 8.5 out of 10.
The Force is strong with this one. When you're as big a fan of Akira Toriyama as I am, playing DBZ Kakarot is like a dream come true. I couldn't wait to jump into Goku's shoes and fight my way through the anime. This time around, they finally got it right. Dragon World is totally legit. Play as your favorite characters while training, fighting, and reliving the biggest and best moments from one of anime's most beloved sagas. The battles are definitely where it shines the brightest, but there's also tons of other fun stuff to do. I've still got a long way to go, but what's the rush? I'm down to go Super Saiyan every day of the week. Sure, it's a little rough around the edges, and not the deepest in an RPG sense, but the epic showdowns and loving attention to detail more than make up for it. If you love all things Dragon Ball, then DBZ Kakarot's your jam. We give it an 8 out of 10. DBZ for life. I'm all about games where you get to play as an animal, so I took another walk on the wild side with Spirit of the North. This time around, you're an ordinary red fox exploring epic landscapes in a story inspired by Nordic folklore. Follow the red streaked sky, using your spirit powers to solve puzzles and advance the cryptic story. It's pretty vague, but it has something to do with a lost civilization, the spirit of the northern lights, and saving the land from an evil plague. It has a real chill vibe. From the haunting soundtrack to its complete lack of dialogue, everything is centered around a zen-like adventure. On the downside, the platforming could be better. A sly fox would never get stuck this often. And for $30, it should have had more stuff to do, but oh well. This one may have been gone too soon, but my love for animal games still runs deep. We give Spirit of the North a 7.5 out of 10. Crazy like a fox.
It's been 5 long years since we saved the Blind Forest.
Now it's finally time to fire up the Xbox for the Will of the Wisps.
Ori's back and he's brought a new friend along. But when tragedy strikes, the only way to save Ku is by collecting the wisps.
This time around, they've really upped the firepower. So whether you're taking down a few skeeters or going toe-to-toe with a mega boss, there's plenty of new ways to cleanse the land.
Niwen is still a platformer's paradise, with tons of secrets and side missions that'll have you running it back again and again.
Will of the Wisps is even cooler than the Blind Forest, but it has a dark secret. It's really glitchy. It isn't that big a deal, but during a chase scene or a boss battle, it's pretty frustrating. Maybe they've already fixed it, but when we played it, it was still buggy as hell.
If not for that major flaw, this one would have scored even higher than the OG.
We give Ori and the Will of the Wisps an 8.5 out of 10.
Beauty and the Beast.
With the world in crisis and everyone in lockdown, there's never been a better time to tear into the latest Doom game. It's hell on Earth, and it's gonna take a whole lot of skull crushing to save the planet. This time around, the demons are bigger, faster, and even more brutal. But just like Doom, Eternal is great at giving you the right tools for the job. With cool new power-ups, badass weapons, and armor upgrades, there's plenty of fun ways to paint the town red. It's still all about running and gunning, but now rushing blindly into the horde means certain death. So without a good battle plan, you're toast. On the downside, they've really ramped up the platforming, which is pretty annoying. I play Doom for the metal and the murder, not to jump around like some plumber. That aside, this is still one of the best first-person shooters ever made. We give Doom Eternal an 8.5 out of 10. It hurts so good. Haven't played an Animal Crossing game in a while, but New Horizons is really hitting the spot these days. You head off to a deserted island and start up your new life from scratch. It's slow going in the beginning. Your island is bare, and so are the cupboards. Forage for fruit, catch bugs, go fishing, anything to earn some cash. As you get more bells, you can pay off your mortgage to your old pal Tom Nook. After that, it's up to you. Get more goodies, donate to the museum, or just hang out. There are lots of visitors to your island each week, and the more you help out, the more you get back. You can make your island into kind of whatever you want. You can also have people over, or go visit their island. Having lots of visitors is a little clunky, and can get slightly annoying. But I guess that's life. There's tons of stuff to make, and do, and buy, and wear. Life in the islands isn't quite perfect, but it's pretty damn close. Toonami gives Animal Crossing New Horizons a 9.5 out of 10.
Hey, Tom, is that a new Jaws game?
I wish.
It looks pretty ridiculous.
Well, ridiculous times call for ridiculous games, like Maneater.
So you just swim around eating stuff?
Yep. You keep evolving as you snack your way up the food chain.
Yeah, but you're mostly eating humans.
Well, they deserve it.
Tom.
What? Humans have hunted sharks for hundreds of years and pay back some other.
Sharks don't jump on land and eat people.
This one does. And you can upgrade her with electric teeth, a poison tail whip, and more.
Did you just sink a ship?
Yep. The more you terrorize, the more bounty hunters show up. And like every good shark tale, it all ends in a big showdown.
Looks kind of familiar.
Eat this shark, swallow you whole.
Tom, come on.
All right, but seriously, Maneater is a ton of fun.
We give it a 7 out of 10.
Eat the rich.
The Last of Us is arguably the best video game of all time, so we've been excited for part 2 for a long while now.
The way the first game ended, Joel and Ellie's relationship is...
Swear to me that everything that you said about the Fireflies is true.
I swear.
Okay.
strained.
It's said there are 2 sides to every story, and when you seek revenge, you should dig 2 graves.
But in this game, you better dig a couple hundred.
Ellie's growing up, and she's dealing with a lot.
You also play as Abby, a soldier who's dealing with a lot too.
There can be some strong triggers in this game, so be forewarned.
The world is way bigger in this game. Everything looks so great.
And the combat is deeper.
And while the story is a different emotional roller coaster, overall, it's just as amazing as the first game.
I avoided all of the spoilers, and if you haven't, I encourage you to take this journey for yourself, and not judge it by what you've seen or heard.
They took some big swings, and some people feel like they made some big misses, but I think they knocked it out of the park.
This game really does have to be experienced, and played all the way to the end.
I just finished my new Game Plus Survivor run, and can't wait to run it again.
Toonami gives The Last of Us Part 2 a 10 out of 10.
An eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. I'm a real sucker for all things Western, so I loaded up my 6-shooters and headed for hell in West of Dead. You play as William Mason, an undead gunslinger trapped in purgatory as you search for salvation in a sinister afterlife. It's all about duck and cover. With limited ammo, you gotta make every shot count, or you'll be digging your own grave. There are a few helpful hombres along the way, but mostly, you're on your own. Collect iron to buy useful weapons from the trader, and visit the witch to purge sin for powerful new items. Be warned, this gunfight isn't for everyone. When you die, you lose everything, and it's back to the saloon to start all over again. It's no Red Dead, but this twin-stick shooter is fun as hell. And having the OG Hellboy as your narrator goes a long way.
Someone had to bring the preacher to justice.
We give West of Dead a 7.5 out of 10. Dying ain't much of a living. I'm a pretty big fan of John Carpenter's The Thing, so when I saw the monster from Carrion, I was immediately hooked. You play as a writhing mass of eyeballs, teeth, and tentacles, hell-bent on escape, while terrorizing an underground research facility. As you snake your way through the compound, gobbling scientists and soldiers, you'll unlock new strands of beastly DNA. Depending on the size of your abomination, your abilities adapt, allowing access to previously locked areas, and some gruesome new ways to dissect your prey. Chances of human survival? None. On the downside, there's not much of a story here, and it's easy to get lost, which leads to a lot of useless backtracking. Hell, even a monstrosity could do with a mini-map once in a while. All in all, playing as the creature is pretty satisfying, but there's just not much else to it. We give Carrion for the Switch a 7 out of 10. Unleash the beast.
Frozen Guardian, embrace the welcoming light. Stand tall and resist.
Beautifully said.
The haiku are such a nice touch.
I think petting the foxes is where I fell in love with this game.
For real. I was so pissed when those bandits desecrated that shrine.
Spoiler alert.
If you haven't figured it out by now, Sarah and I are talking about Ghost of Tsushima.
I thought it was Tsushima.
I feel like Jin puts a "ta" in there.
I guess you're right.
Either way, if you've ever wanted to play a giant open-world collectible checklist shogunate-themed Assassin's Creed, it's time to fire this one up.
You play as Jin Sakai, the lone samurai who survives the Mongolian invasion of his island.
And in order to save your people and free your uncle, you start to...
Bend?
Yeah, bend the samurai code a little.
Or a lot.
You can sneak around and kill from the shadows.
Or announce your presence with authority.
And there's a ton of stuff to collect.
There's more haiku to compose, and Inari Fox shrines to honor.
Hot springs to relax in, and bamboo strikes to hone your skills.
Pillars of honor to showcase your weapons, and Shinto shrines to pray at for more charms.
And the story is really good, too. The path to becoming the ghost is fraught with moral questions.
I will kill them where they sleep. Show all time that no one is beyond the reach of the ghost.
The game looks so good.
I wish there was better pathfinding than just the wind.
It's your father's spirit?
Father.
Well, I wish he manifested himself as a waypoint then.
It's not a perfect game, but it is really great.
We give it a 9.5 out of 10.
Let's go find some more banners and see what saddles we can unlock.
Don't forget the singing crickets.
Are you ready?
Sarah, hurry up. I'm late for my final round.
Tom, it's not real golf. There aren't actual tee times in PGA Tour 2K21.
I know, but I'm finally on top of the leaderboard.
This looks about as boring as I imagined.
It's all in the hips. It's all in the hips. Too fast and you'll hook it. Too slow, it's a slice.
I bet you slice it right into the woods.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, Sarah, and I never slice.
Tom, stop quoting golf movies and just putt.
Putting is the hardest part of the game, but once you start striping the driver and knocking him close, it gets a little easier. Okay, just tap it in.
Oh, another 3-putt?
Yep, that's a double bogey.
You've got a long way to go.
Just 20 more tournaments for a shot at the FedEx Cup.
We give PGA Tour 2K21 an 8 out of 10.
Golf is a good walk spoiled. Lately, I've been playing this new roguelike game called Hades, and man, is it addictive. As the immortal prince of the underworld, your mission is to escape from hell itself.
All right, one more time.
Seems like it should be easy, but when your dad's the god of the dead,
Stupid boy.
it's a pretty tall order. Dying is an unavoidably big part of the game. But don't worry, you're not alone on this quest. Various Olympian gods will lend you their divine powers.
Greetings, young man.
And once you groove your own fighting style, it's pretty kick-ass. The further you go, the more intense the battle gets. And each new attempt brings you a little closer to finally breaking free of the old man. Dying and losing it all always sucks. But the realm of the dead is also loaded with tons of collectibles and story unlocks that really make it feel like less of a grind.
There's a good boy.
I haven't quite escaped yet, but it's fun enough to fight all night. We give Hades for the Switch an 8.5 out of 10. Hell hath no fury. Assassin's Creed Valhalla is out, so it's time to sharpen your blades.
I can give it a better edge and reinforced handle.
This go-around, you play as Eivor, the Danish child of a former Viking leader.
For those who fight! For those who fight!
Your dad was double-crossed and murdered when you were young. But now that you're grown up, it's payback time.
You just killed yourself, Erky.
Eivor! Have you been worrying with them?
Your brother's been plundering overseas and has brought back some guys who have some secrets to help you dominate the land. You can make your Eivor look pretty much however you want, or even let the Animus decide. I've been rolling with Viking Furiosa. There's the usual climbing of tall things and looking at the majesty around you. And the fighting has changed a little. I didn't love it at first, but I'm getting the hang of it now.
Ready!
It also feels like stealth isn't as big of a factor, but maybe that's just how I'm playing it.
The Ravens came no fun for only
Because sacking a city is fun, and you bring the party with you. This game is huge. The whole review is basically just the tutorial area. And even though there's tons to do there, it's just the beginning. There are definitely some buggy issues, and if you never liked Assassin's Creed games, I don't know that this one's gonna change your mind.
Come here, moment.
But if the idea of leading a Viking war party to conquer Europe sounds appealing, I think we can be friends. We're holding off on a full rating, but for now, we give it a barbaric yop. So, it's Favo Soling, as I'm off to Britain to teach those Saxon dogs what a real warrior looks like. After 30 plus years and over 30 titles, the Zelda series is still going strong, and Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is another instant classic. The game takes place 100 years before the Breath of the Wild, and you start off playing as Link, Zelda, and Impa on a quest to defeat the massive hordes that are out to sack Hyrule Castle. As you battle literally thousands of Ganon's troops, you'll unlock even more playable characters. There are 18 in total, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. You can switch on the fly, but it takes some serious trial and error to see who's best at what. Eventually, you'll learn to pilot the Divine Beasts, unleashing even more destructive power. On the downside, it can get a little repetitive. And with so many enemies on screen, it can also be kind of laggy. But it's still pretty fun. And you can bring a friend along while uncovering the history of Hyrule. Who knows what's up with Breath of the Wild 2, but Hyrule Warriors is more than enough to keep the legend alive. Zelda games have always put a smile on my face. And trust me, I'm smiling under here. And Age of Calamity is no different. We give it an 8 out of 10. Courage need not be remembered, for it is never forgotten. Between all the big titles coming out and the hype of the new consoles, you may have missed one of the toughest games of last year, Unto the End. You play as a warrior who gets lost in the mountains and must find his way back to his family. There's no map and no dialogue. It's just you and your will to survive versus the bone-chilling frost and deadly creatures of this hostile world. At first, it seems like you can just hack and slash your way to victory, but you'll quickly realize that you're in for a grind. Every encounter is a knockdown, drag-out battle to the death, and guess who's doing most of the dying? To make matters worse, if you get hit, you'll start bleeding out. And if you don't heal up by a fire, death slowly catches up to you as you fight your way home. Sadly, just when I was finding my groove, it was suddenly over. But it was fun while it lasted. Now I can't wait to run it back again. We give Unto the End an 8 out of 10. Walking in the snow. So the cowboy evolution of Shadow Tactics Desperados 3 dropped a while back. And in case you missed it, this game is fun. Well, maybe not everyone's definition of fun, but it's really satisfying. And even though this game is all about tactics, the story is actually really good.
You killed my friend. Be sure to say hello to him in hell.
You start off in control of Cooper.
I wonder what's in here.
A young man who has a fluid definition of right and wrong. You're out for revenge, and you're building your team as you go.
You need a drink, so do I.
Everyone working together to pull off the perfect scenario takes a lot of trial and error. A lot. Quick save is your friend. And while they want you to play through the level multiple times in multiple ways, I ended up just killing everyone the first time. I don't know, seemed cleaner. The later levels are huge, almost too big. I wish they gave you more freedom the first time through, but every time you figured out how to pull it off perfectly, it was super rewarding. I went so deep on this one, I don't know when I'll hit the trail again. But I find myself wondering about what old Cooper and the gang are up to.
We got your back, amigo.
We give Desperados 3 an 8 out of 10. Sierra's cowboy.
Give him hell.
What is it with you and all these retro side-scrollers?
What? You know I love a good challenge.
But you always get really angry.
And? This time, it's called Cyber Shadow. You play as a ninja, last of the clan, out to save your master in the future world of Mega City.
Aren't you sick of these games by now?
No way. Damn it.
Sounds pretty familiar.
Here we go. 8th time's a charm. Yes. Now it's back to the grind.
I think all this repetition might have fried a servo or two.
Maybe. It's harder than I thought. But at least it was only 20 bucks.
I'll admit, it does look pretty cool.
It's really fun. And really aggravating. But I'm a glutton for punishment.
You can say that again.
We give Cyber Shadow an 8 out of 10. Step into the shadows.
Didn't you say you were taking a break from these?
Yeah, but that was before they dropped Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection. Back in the day, if you could beat this insanely hard game, you were king of the arcade. And now it's back in all its glory.
Did you ever beat the original?
Of course.
You did?
Well, technically no, but I beat the NES version.
That doesn't really count then.
Sure it does. And it was way cheaper. The arcade version could eat $10 in 10 minutes.
This reboot looks pretty intense.
It's as hard as ever, but for the first time, you can play with a friend.
So you want my help beating this one?
It wouldn't hurt.
Wait a minute, it's still on Legend mode.
You know it, but you can lower the difficulty at any time.
Now that sounds like more fun for everyone.
We give Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection for the Switch an 8 out of 10. The past never dies. The Hayabusa clan and I go way back. So when they dropped the Ninja Gaiden Master Collection, I couldn't wait to jump back in. You get all 3 sagas, Sigma, Sigma 2, and Razor's Edge. Hack and slash your way through endless minions and epic showdowns as you wield the Dragon Sword once again. I really love this series, but the old school camera system is still a real pain. It gets slightly better with each title, but it makes these super difficult games even tougher to beat. It takes a lot of patience to walk the path of the ninja. On the downside, I kind of feel like they missed an opportunity here. Everything looks great in 4K, but besides a few extra costumes, there's not much new, no multiplayer. You still get a ton of fun for $40, but for some, it might be a deal breaker. Whether you're an OG fan or just looking for an old new challenge, the Ninja Gaiden Master Collection is worth a shot. We give it a 7 out of 10. Cuts like a knife. When I heard there was a new Souls-like action RPG dropping, I couldn't wait to test my mettle. It's called Ender Lilies, Quietest of the Nights. In a dismal future, a young priestess awakens with no memories and her kingdom in chaos. Now it's up to Lily to wield the power of the Knights and end the reign of death once and for all. Like most Metroidvania games, this one starts you off with basic attacks and limited access to the realm of Land's End. As you gather new abilities by purifying blighted souls, you can summon more powerful spirits and push on to new areas. The boss battles are a real mixed bag. Some are no sweat, and some are sweaty as hell. Equipping the right combo of relics and spirit powers is crucial to victory. There are a few different endings, but I wasn't down with the first ones I found. So I keep running it back in search of a happily ever after. We give Ender Lilies, Quietest of the Nights, an 8 out of 10. Herein lies salvation. After bombing the universe countless times and racking up mad kills in first-person shooters, it's nice to take a break once in a while. And that's where Alba comes in.
You play as a young girl visiting her grandparents on a small Mediterranean island.
After learning that the mayor plans to destroy the local nature reserve to build a luxury hotel,
Alba, along with her grandfather and best friend Inez, set off to save the island.
it's all about wandering around, collecting signatures, saving animals, cleaning up the town, and using your phone to catalog various wildlife.
Sure, it's kinda kiddie, and it's really short, but it's a little game with a big message.
By playing Alba, you can make a positive impact in the real world.
For every download, a tree is planted through the Eden Reforestation Project.
Now that's a cause we can really get behind.
We give Alba a wildlife adventure an 8 out of 10.
Okay, now who knows what kind of bird this is? We've reviewed lots of golf games over the years, but none of them are quite like Golf Club Wasteland. After sucking the planet dry, the ultra-rich have fled to Mars, and all that's left of Earth is a desolate wasteland. The perfect place for a round of golf. There's no scorecard, no tournaments, and no reason to yell, "For..." Hell, there aren't even different clubs to choose from. Just a simple golf mechanic and 35 crazy holes. Each one has a story to tell as you piece together the downfall of civilization. It takes a minute to figure out the swing meter. But once you got it, it's fun to see how low you can go. And with 3 different modes, you'll be playing the course over and over in search of the perfect shot. Some cool tunes and mildly funny commentary make the whole experience extra chill. Even if you don't like golf, this $10 golf game is worth a swing. We give Golf Club Wasteland an 8 out of 10. Aces high.
Hey, Tom, is that the latest Pixar movie?
No, but it sure feels like one. It's called Cana Bridge of Spirits. It's all about life, death, and helping lost spirits cross over.
Those are some pretty heavy topics, but it kind of looks like a kid's game.
I thought so too at first, but it's pretty challenging.
Ooh, what are those fun creatures?
They're called the Rot.
The Rot? That's an ugly name for such cute little guys.
Yeah, it's pretty weird, but they sure are useful. The more you collect, the cooler stuff they can do, like solving puzzles and cleansing the land. Plus, they're really handy in a fight, and you can even buy little hats for them.
Oh, adorable.
On the downside, it's kind of repetitive, and it's pretty short. The whole story can be played in about 12 hours.
That may seem short to you, Tom, but most people will take a bit longer.
Well, I'm not most people.
We give Cana an 8 out of 10. Thank you.
It's a new year, and we're easing into it with another quick hitter called A Short Hike.
It kind of looks like Animal Crossing.
Kinda, but with way less commitment. The object of the game is to reach the top of Hawk Peak.
Wait, isn't your character a bird? Why not just fly right up?
Well, you can't fly that high at first, so you need to collect enough golden feathers to make the climb. Once you reach the top, you can either dive bomb all the way down and end the game, or backtrack for some optional tasks.
Let me guess, you opted to stick around.
You know it. My addiction to full completion knows no limits. You can help out the locals, collect treasure maps, catch rare fish, dig up some change, run a few races, or take the boat out for a spin.
So is there a point to any of this?
Not really. It's just kind of fun for fun's sake. Playing A Short Hike is as brief as it is charming, and for $8, you really can't go wrong.
We give it an 8 out of 10.
I'd really been itching for a new skateboarding game, and that's when I slammed face first into Ollie Ollie World.
Ouch! I hope this isn't another break your controller kind of game.
Nah, it's not that hard. But Radlandia is a huge sandbox full of cool stuff to do.
Ollie Ollie World is actually the 3rd title in the series.
Yeah, I wish I'd found this fun-ass game sooner. It's all about shredding rad spots, collecting swag, and growing your bag of tricks. All the while vying to become the next skate god.
Skate god?
Yeah, that's the main storyline. But you can shred it any way you like. Roll out just to advanced levels, or grind yourself to bits in pursuit of perfection.
Your favorite pastime.
Yep, and with tons of side quests, challenges, and seemingly endless customization, the good vibes go on and on.
We give Ollie Ollie World a 9 out of 10.
Nirvana awaits. Metroidvania games are my jam. And when I saw that you play this one as a tough-as-nails rabbit, I couldn't resist. The Furtisans of Torch City live in fear. All that stands between them and the Iron Dogs is you and your giant fist. Learning the ropes is slow, but eventually you become a one-rabbit wrecking crew. Okay, now who wants a knuckle sandwich? You'll definitely take your lumps against the Robotic Legion, but you just dust yourself off and get back in the fight. As you progress, more skills and more attachments are added to your arm. Then you can drill them, shock them, and combo them into oblivion, all in the name of fur freedom. Once you're fully upgraded, you can finally get to those extra secrets and collectibles on your way to the final showdown. It's not all that groundbreaking, but the story is pretty cool. And serving up massive beatdowns sure is fun. We give Forged and Shadow Torch an 8 out of 10. Fur for one, and all for fur. A few years back, there was an amazing game called Far Lone Sails. Now they've done it again with Far Changing Tides. Just like last time, you're a lone pilot in charge of a large vessel in a post-apocalyptic dreamscape. It's all about collecting fuel from the depths to power the engine and keeping the wind in your sails. Keep moving toward the unknown, gathering supplies and solving puzzles to clear obstacles, all while trying to figure out why you're on this journey in the first place. Eventually, you'll be able to submerge, and that's when the fun really begins. At full speed, things can get hectic quick, and it's almost impossible to avoid taking damage. You'll have to be sharp on the repairs, and an even sharper captain to make it all the way to the end. Sadly, just when I was really getting the hang of it, it was suddenly over. It's not quite as zen and groundbreaking as the first one, but it's still a trip worth taking. We give Far Changing Tides an 8.5 out of 10. A man is never lost at sea.
Is there something wrong with the monitors?
Nah, it's supposed to look like this. It's a cool title called Narita Boy.
Man, you sure love these 80s games.
What's not to love? A decade of rad arcades, big action movies, and even bigger swords.
Okay, so what's it all about?
You play as a user sucked into the game in a story straight out of a Tron movie.
Let me guess, now it's up to you to search down the creator's lost memories and save the digital kingdom?
Yep, it has all the staples of any great Metroidvania game. Exploration, puzzles, and button-mashing boss showdowns.
I'm really digging the retro vibe, but it looks like there's a lot of backtracking.
Yeah, there's no map, so figuring out where to go next is kind of a bummer. But the fun factor more than makes up for it.
It does look pretty amazing.
We give Narita Boy for the Xbox Series X an 8 out of 10. Classic arcade brawlers are always a good time, but when it's Ninja Turtle flavored, cowabunga! In the early 90s, the Turtles blew up. Everywhere you looked, there was Leonardo, Raphael, Donatello, and Michelangelo, kicking shell and saving the Big Apple. But way before they were known for their cartoon pizza-eating antics, they were known as total badasses. And now, they're back again, coming straight from the sewers to take Shredder down once and for all. What you see is what you get, and what you get is old school fun. It's all here. Combos, power-ups, collectibles, and your favorite characters. The only downside? It's really short. You can complete the story mode in just a couple hours.
Easy peasy.
But luckily, the arcade mode ups the difficulty, and with up to 6-player co-op, the fun goes on and on. We give Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge an 8 out of 10. Turtles are timeless.
Looks like another victory for the forces of good.
Tom, is that another weird golf game?
Yep. You know I can't resist the call of the links. This one's called Curse to Golf. One minute you're sizing up a chip to win the Eternal Championship, and the next you're falling deep into golf purgatory. The good news is that you can play your way back to life.
And the bad news?
You have to defeat 18 puzzle-like holes, and it's way harder than it looks.
Right up your alley.
Normally, yes, but this one's a roguelike, so when you fail, it's back to the pro shop to tee it up all over again.
Sounds fun, but frustrating.
Nailed it. Get a bad bounce? Back you go. Run out of strokes? Back you go. And the greenskeeper shuffles the holes every round, so there's really no way to get ahead.
Well, you're always up for a challenge.
Yeah, I'll keep at it. But for now, just gonna hit the range.
Practice makes perfect.
We give Curse to Golf a 9 out of 18.
Next on the tee from outer space.
This one's been out for a while, but once you fire up Neon White, it's hard to put down. You play as White, the lost soul plucked from hell, and tasked with exterminating demons from heaven. It's all about the need for speed. If you're on point, each level takes less than a minute. If not, it's try again until you finish the mission. It takes some time to learn which soul cards to use when, but soon enough, you'll be flying high and dealing death at every turn. The further you go, the harder it gets. But when an epic run finally comes together, it sure is satisfying. You'll have to out-hustle the other Neons while battling through 12 chapters and 97 levels to finally clear your name. I'm not quite there yet, but if I keep playing my cards right, Judgment Day awaits. The only downside, there's a ton of dialogue to sit through. But when it comes to fun, Neon White does a lot of things right. We give it a 9 out of 10. Sweet salvation.
Hey, Tom, what you got there?
It's another quirky play as an animal game called Stray.
So this time you're a cat?
Yep, trapped in a walled cyber city run by robots. You have to use your feline instincts to figure a way out.
So you just wander around doing cat-type things? Ooh, who's that?
That's B12. He's a very useful little drone.
Interesting. But what's the actual point of all this?
Well, there's some platforming and puzzle solving along the way, but it's mostly about exploration, collecting B12's lost memories, and finding your way back to the outside world.
Playing as a cat looks way more fun than it should be.
Oh, it is. And it's weirdly satisfying.
Well, you don't have to be a cat person or even a hardcore gamer to see this one special.
You said it. We give Stray a short but fun 8 out of 10. Sweet dreams, little buddy.
Our new game room is finally online.
Whoa, look at this place.
Come on, admit it. It was worth the wait.
Hell yeah, and I got the perfect game to kick off the new digs. It's a cool roguelike called Cult of the Lamb. Playing as a possessed lamb, saved from annihilation by a sketchy shadow figure, you must repay your debt by building a cult in his name.
Sounds kind of weird, but it looks pretty cool.
It's part dungeon crawler and part world builder, so it's like 2 games in one. Between training your flock, gathering more followers, and crusading for spoils, there's lots of busy work.
Wait, are you picking up poop?
Yep, makes a great fertilizer.
It looks like some of your woodland followers aren't totally devoted.
Yeah, it happens while you're away defeating the 4 bishops and visiting far-off lands. Well, looks like it's time for another dark ritual.
Wait, you just killed that one?
What? It was a real pain in the ass.
And now you're locking up another one?
Yeah, just a dissenter. It takes constant attention and upgrading to keep them all in line.
This game is crazy.
Crazy fun. We give Cult of the Lamb an 8 out of 10.
All hail Toonami.
As a lover of all things samurai and classic Japanese cinema, I was pretty hyped on Trek to Yomi. Your katana-wielding revenge story starts off as most do, with a traumatic childhood event and a choice between doing your duty and protecting your true love. Playing as Hiroki, you must walk the path of the samurai on a journey to hell and back. Gameplay-wise, there's nothing really groundbreaking here, but immersing yourself in its mythical Japanese lore and amazing throwback style is a real treat. The only downside? It's a brief encounter. You can play through its 7 chapters in about 4 hours. But if you're like me and 100% completion's your game, you'll be running it back to search down missed collectibles in all 4 endings, happily doubling your time with this amazing homage to Japanese cinema. We give Trek to Yomi an 8 out of 10. Walk the way of the warrior. Any excuse to start playing Dead Cells again is a good thing.
And when you mix in the legendary Castlevania series,
it's a Konami Stan's dream.
As a prisoner, you set out to storm Dracula's castle.
On a quest to rid the world of the ultimate evil.
All you have to do to get there is fight your way through the Dead Cells levels.
Dance with death itself.
Head back to the castle again for a clash with Medusa.
Then enter the Master's Keep and somehow defeat the most powerful vampire of all time.
Piece of cake, right?
Well, this is Dead Cells.
Oof.
Yep, but now we can have even more fun running it back again to find our way to the gothic goods.
It's a long road, but tracking down this kind of nostalgia is worth the grind.
We give the Return to Castlevania DLC for Dead Cells an 8 out of 10.
I think we're going to need a lot more holy water.
Belmont Clan Unite! When summer rolls around, I always get an itch for reeling in a big catch. So I packed up my gear and set sail with a creepy horror-themed fishing game called Dredge. As a contracted fisherman, you set out to catch your quota and unravel the mysteries of Marrow Bay. From sunup till sundown, you fish for profit, while dredging up raw materials and gleaming treasures. Use the loot to upgrade your boat, add more cargo space, and install specialized fishing gear. When night falls and the fog rolls in, things start getting really sketchy. The Lovecraftian nightmares of the deep show no mercy, and will drag your ship to the inky depths if you're not careful. You'll have to grind pretty hard if you want to catch all the rare sea creatures and see both endings to this dark tale. Even if fishing isn't your thing, Dredge is a fun trip worth taking. We give it an 8 out of 10. Here, there be monsters. Till the sun rises on a world without Toonami, we remain the first and still the best. Only Toonami.